Hi, I'm Mikah. Today's yoga class will be a short sequence with some gentle stretches and movement to hopefully help you relieve your sciatic pain. Let's get started. We'll start standing today. If you have access to a wall, go ahead and come on over to a wall. If you don't have access to an open wall right now, that's fine. You can use the tall part of a sturdy chair, but a wall would be better. Okay, so come on over near a wall. We'll start in mountain pose Tadasana, feet about hip distance or so apart, whatever's comfortable. Let's take one hand on our heart, one on the low belly. Soften the shoulders. Maybe let your eyes close for a moment. And feel root to rise, what we call root to rise in yoga, where your feet are grounding down actively, and at the same time, everything else is lifting. The crown of the head is reaching up towards the sky. So every inhale, we invite in space throughout our spine, especially the low back. And every exhale, we soften. 2 more breaths like that. Just to find our center, breathing in, finding space and length. And breathing out to soften. Okay, this last time we breathe in, let's reach our arms up past the ears, try to touch the ceiling. And then on your exhale, side bend over to one side and let that arm drop down by your side. Inhale, come back up through center. Again, find space. Exhale, side bend the other way. One more time each side, just warming up our spine here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then one more breath in, interlace your fingers at the top, lift the chest, and take just a little back bend, a light back bend. So we're lengthening our tailbone down to the heels, drawing the low belly in, and lifting the chest. Breathe here. And then on your exhale, you can just take your hands down to heart center, face the wall, if you have one, or hold on to the chair. And we'll step both feet back into wall push or downward facing dog on the wall. So you're gonna slide the hands down, step your feet back pretty far, start with a bend, a generous bend in your knees as you press your hips away from the wall. So the idea is that we're coming to a 90-ish degree angle. And we're creating the wall is like traction for the spine. So we're pressing the hands in actively to send the hips back. You can see how that is going to create a lot of space in your spine. Breathe here. If that all feels good in your shoulders, your back, you can play with straightening the legs a little bit. But if you feel like straightening your legs brought rounding to the low back, then keep that bend in your knees for now, okay? Stay here for a breath or two. Okay, and then we'll rise on up. Keep the hands into the wall. Step your right foot in front with the knee bent. So we're coming into Warrior One. Now this we might have to play a little bit because we want that same feeling of length with our hips sent back behind us. So you might have to shift your feet back just a little bit and then press the hips back, and again bring your ears in between the shoulders. So if you can get this long spine and your hips are back and your legs are straight, then we're not going to sit into this too long right now. Let's go ahead and bend the front knee, open the chest, lift your gaze, and then straighten the front leg as you actively send your hips back. Inhale to bend your knee, open the heart. Exhale, send your hips back. Do that a couple more times on your own. Okay, and the next time your hips come back, let's stay there and breathe. Looking straight down to the floor, ears in between the shoulders. And then we'll bend that front knee. This time rising, grounding through the feet and rising into warrior one. So reach your arms up to the ceiling, pinkies in, lifting the chest. Good, there's a little tuck of the tailbone here, or just very gentle, lengthening the tailbone down to the heels. Take your hands together down to your heart, and then step forward. And we'll step the other leg back. So now the left foot's in front. Bring your hands back to the wall. Make any adjustments you need to make. You can test this by straightening the front leg, pressing your hips back, making sure you have space. And then we'll start moving with the breath, bending the front knee, opening the heart on the inhale. Exhale, straightening the front leg, pressing the hips back. And bonus, if you do have tight calves, you are going to feel this. I know I am right now. Next time you bend the front knee, let's ground through the feet. Feel your strength as you rise up, lifting your torso for warrior one with the left leg in front. Take a breath or two here. And then bring your hands down to heart center. Step forward, shake it out a little bit. Widen the space between your feet. Take your hands on your hips and just circle around with your hips. Use this time to slow your breath down. Find your center. And then come back up. And we'll make our way down to the mat, hands and knees. Setting up in tabletop position, spread your fingers wide. And we'll move through cat-cow, gently drop the belly down, broaden the collarbone, and lift your head. And then as you exhale, we tuck the tailbone around the spine, release your head down and press away from the mat. Moving back and forth through cat-cow, inhale to open. Exhale to round, keeping the breath smooth. Remembering that you don't have to go to your deepest point. Let this be easy in your body. On your next exhale, we'll come to a neutral spine. Walk your hands forward just a little bit, maybe a palm's distance, and start to circle through your hips here. So we're shifting our weight around, forward almost to a knee down plank, and then back like we're going back into child's pose. Stay in that same direction and explore here. See what feels good. If there's a part of this that feels really good, like a good stretch when you come to the side, feel free to pause in that for a moment. Take your circles the other direction. And then come back around to that knee down plank with your shoulders over your wrists. Keep your elbows into your ribs and lower yourself all the way down on your mat. Then once you're down, we'll set up for Sphinx pose. So prop yourself up on your forearms, fingers spread wide, the elbows are under your shoulders here, and then let your whole body sink down into the shoulders. And then press up out. Pressing actively away from the mat, so we're not hanging out in our shoulder joints. And then think of grasping imaginary earth with your hands and gently pulling it towards you. And that should bring the chest through just a little bit more. If this feels wonky in your low back, just bring a little lift of the abdomen up towards the spine. Okay, very slight, but that should take some of the crunch out of the low back. Keep the back of the neck long, and we'll hold for a few breaths. So Sphinx pose is excellent for mobilizing and really lengthening, opening up the low back, which can relieve some pressure on the sciatic nerve. Let's move this now. Let's move with the breath. So breathe in where you are, and then breathe out. Just start to come down. Inhale, press back up, and exhale, melt down. Inhale up, exhale down, and then just a couple more times on your own. Finding that length every time you press up, the length of the spine. On your next exhale, just release your head down to your hands, maybe turning your head to one side. Let your hips rock side to side. Bring your hands under your shoulders, press yourself up, and bring your feet around in front of you. So we'll start with the right leg out long and the left knee bent. And just make sure you can sit up tall here. So if you need to prop your hips up on something to find a little more space in your back, you can do that. And then take the left foot on the other side of the right leg. Nice tall spine as you breathe, soft shoulders. We'll take our left hand behind us. Now this is not a deep twist. You are not using the hand on your knee for traction to twist. We're just going to hug the knee into our body and gently turn our body, our torso, a little bit to the left, maybe just an inch or two. So rather than a full spinal twist, we're really trying to get some space down the left side of the body, the outside of the left leg. Okay, so breathe here, and every inhale, find a little more length in the spine, and every exhale, just soften a bit. On your next exhale, we'll return to center slowly. Stretch that left leg out long, bend the right knee. Make sure we can sit up tall first, getting up on top of the sit bones, and then place that right foot on the other side of the left leg. Take your right fingertips behind you, and the left hand gently draws that right knee in towards you as you rotate just an inch or two to the right. Opening up the outside of the right leg, hip. Letting the breath be smooth and finding as much length in your spine as you can. You might notice that's a pattern in this class. That is one of our intentions for this class, is to create as much space in your spine as we can. Okay, on your exhale, return to center. Bring both legs out in front of you and then come to lie down on your back. Once you're down, we'll draw both knees up into the chest. Take your hands on the front of the thighs. When you breathe in, we'll press the knees away, straightening the arms. And when you breathe out, draw them back in and feel your belly just sink down towards the spine. Inhale to press away. You don't have to press them far. Exhale, draw them in. Think of this as just a massage for your low back. You get bonus points if you take a little pause at the bottom of every exhale when you hug your knees in. Next time you draw your knees in, leave them in towards you. We'll start to stack our knees. So we'll take the right knee on top of the left. So your legs are going in the opposite direction. Your feet are going in the opposite direction. Flex your feet and then see if you can take hold of the pinky toe side of each foot. Now, if that's not doable for you, you can either take hold of the ankles, that's fine, and draw them down towards the floor and towards you, or you can just draw the knees in towards you and try to press the big toe side of the foot down towards the floor on your own without any kind of help. And you can also use a strap. That's always an option, okay? But if you can take hold and just gently draw down towards the floor. So you can see what feels good. Sometimes the difference of 1 inch here can make a huge difference in where you feel the stretch. So you can see if it feels better to go down away from you a little bit or more towards your body. Find your sweet spot, melt your shoulders down to the mat the best you can, and connect with your breath. If you're holding on, let go. Just kick your legs up to the ceiling a few times to reset. And then we'll do the other way. So left knee on top of the right, flexing your feet, drawing the knees in towards you, taking hold if you can, and then drawing down towards the floor, towards you. Whoop. And you'll notice if one side is tighter than the other, like I just did. So whatever knee is on top, that's the hip we're targeting here. Mostly, you might feel it a little bit in the other hip too. So if you are feeling a strong sensation here, use your breath to settle into it. Slow your breath down. Tell your nervous system that everything is okay by really settling into those slow exhales. Letting all tension melt from your body. And then take your time to release, unwind, kick the legs up a few more times. I call these yogi ninja kicks. Stretch your body out long on the mat. Reach your fingertips up past your ears. Again, create as much space in your spine as you can. Inhale here. And then exhale to soften and find any comfortable position for your Shavasana today. If you still have a chair from earlier, it can feel really nice to prop your calves up on the low side of the chair and let your upper body release. That's your lower body. Let your lower body release completely down into the chair. Put your back in a nice neutral position too. But if you don't have that chair, butterfly can feel nice. Or walking your feet, doing the opposite, like a little internal rotation of the hip here, where your feet walk out and let your knees fall into touch. Take a moment to explore and find what feels best to you. And take an intentional few breaths to release any tension that's still remaining in your body. Let it all go. Soften. Give yourself at least a few moments of stillness to absorb everything you just did. And you are welcome to stay here as long as you like. But if you're ready to come out, you can bring some small movement back into the body. I'm doing some windshield wipers with my knees side to side. And then come back up to a seat. Acknowledge yourself for taking this time to take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. Thank you for joining me today.